and then for the international pricing, we chose to establish that a 20-foot container can hold about 48,000 pounds of cargo, and we also decided to be shipping the 1.7-ounce bars of granola to Vancouver. And we figured out that about a little more than 5,000 granola bars would be fitting in one 20-foot container. And we decided to use the export managing company to sell our product to ship it. And we would need to sell our product at an equal or lesser price than we sell the product for domestically. And that would be, we chose to sell it for about $2.50 to the $2.50 to the export management company, which would equal the value of about $13,000 worth of granola in the 20-foot container. And then this would, if you divide this by how many granola pieces are in the container, this would be about $2.91 per granola at this point after you've shipped it through the EMC. Then you have to add in a 70% markup by the retailer and then a 7% added value tax in Canada, which would then make the price of the granola in Canada $5.30. And then we go to steps, the short-term solutions for the price escalation from domestic to international. And being as $5.30 is almost double what the product is sold here domestically, you can always establish product differentiation, which would shift the customer's focus from the product to the benefits and the features of the product. You can also use the variable costing, which would eliminate any overhead to make the price smaller for international pricing. And also there's discounts you can offer. And also you have to decide on a currency that you're going to price the product in. And for granola's situation, being as their first time going international and they are a small business relatively, it would be best to price it in US dollars instead of Canadian dollars for the beginning process of exporting.
For exporting, we chose to use indirect exporting, which allows for little to no international experience and also limits the financial risk for the company granola. We chose to use the export management company, which you can choose through a variety of ways. You can use contacts in the industry, you can use the Nutrition Business Journal, the 2009 Country Commercial Guide, which we've included in the appendix of our report. You can also use trade associations, and this is important to find an EMC that will also invest in the Vancouver market so that granola will not have to put out the capital to do that. In the contract negotiations, it's important to use a local lawyer, which you can find through the American Business Consulate. And we have included several, I think 3 contract lawyers in the appendix of our report that specifically work in Vancouver. It's important to manage these channels of distribution and keep constant communication with the company and make sure that they're up to date on issues with the actual product. Product standardization, we're able to manufacture the product in the same way for the domestic and the foreign market. The only thing that really is different is the labeling on the packaging. In the Vancouver market and in Canada, the Canadian Food Administration requires the labeling to be different than the US. So every other part of the packaging and manufacturing of the product can be standardized. Also, the label has to be in both French and English.
It's also important to keep an open channel communication between granola and AOCs. Frequent emails and market visits are most important. Actually going to Canada, having meetings with your AOCs and making sure you're all on the same page is very important.
The legal considerations. For corruption, we use the Transparency International. They have a corruption index. And for the 2009 year, we found that Canada is ranked number 8 out of 180 world countries. The lower the number, the less corrupt the business environment there. So things like bribery and extortion won't really be a problem in the business environment. And embargoes and export controls aren't really an issue with Canada because of NAFTA, the agreements that we have. They really don't have any restrictions on importation of U.S. products.
Tax and accounting issues are something to really consider when exporting because they're definitely going to factor into your final cost like we said earlier, Canada is part of the North American Free Trade Agreement, which I'm sure you know facilitates trade between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. So granola is going to be able to take advantage of a lot of the things that NAFTA offer, including the fact that most of our products can be exported to Canada with no import tariffs. So granola falls into that category, so you really don't need to find any ways to mitigate import tariffs through foreign subsidies. Another way you can cut costs, which is a domestic function, is duty drawbacks. As of now, granola doesn't have any imported raw materials, but if at some point they eventually do, duty drawbacks is essentially a refund from the domestic government for the import tariffs on those raw materials. Something you're definitely going to have to take a look at with Canada is the foreign sales tax or value-added tax, which is a federal sales tax, and it's relatively high in Canada at 7.5%, and the provincial sales tax is also at 7%. So that's going to have to fall on someone's shoulders, so you're going to have to factor that in when you're pricing the product or dealing with EMCs. As we said earlier, there's really little risks with Canada. It's unique in that it's probably, with the United States, the least risky country of all to invest in or to export to. So we're the highest exporter or trade partner with Canada. We're also the highest foreign direct investor with Canada. So there really is no political or economic risk. Something you might potentially have to look at is the financial risk that comes with exchange rates, which is really just a function right now of the slow economy, and forecasts show that the two exchange rates are going to close in on each other. So you're really not going to need to look for ways to stop exchange rate risk. As far as payment, like we just said about risk, with such a small new company, you're going to have to figure out a way to lower the risk on both sides with payment for the importer and the exporter yourself. So we came up with the best solution would probably be a letter of credit, which deals with a foreign and domestic bank, ensuring basically payments on both sides and delivery of goods on your side. As far as financing, a small company like granola is probably going to need some capital, working capital to start with a huge endeavor like foreign trade. So there's a lot of organizations like the Small Business Administration that offer financing to small businesses that are looking to export. But one thing that we really suggest looking at is the Export-Import Bank of America, which has a fairly new program called the Small Business Initiative Program. Thank you, Davey. Small Business Initiative Program, which provides large financing and up to 90% risk insurance for exporting the product. So you have the same things that basically the Small Business Administration does, but what sets it apart from that is that it specializes in imports and exports and foreign trade. So you're going to get a lot more out of it. And we've included in the appendix some contacts about the Export-Import Bank of America, as well as an application to get started with financing. Thank you very much.